Greetings, everybody. Coinstamp 180 here. Jeez, a great start point. It's the cough. I almost cussed. Let's not do that. But greetings, everyone. Coinstamp 180, otherwise known as Swirling Vortex 09 on YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Elden Ring Reforged. How are you guys doing today? I think I'm doing alright. I mean, apart from the insidious long-term coughing, it comes on so sudden. I think maybe 25% of the time I have enough time to press that mute button on my microphone, but really, the mute button doesn't always work 100% of the time. Even if I press it, sometimes you guys will hear me press the mute button and then sound continues to come. It hasn't been depressed properly when that happens. Sometimes my microphone does that, so I've just opted to kind of point my mouth away from the mic as often as I can. But last time, we proceeded to have some problems with nighttime bosses. We did, and the screen tearing starts. Awesome. Is that showing up on stream? Sorry. Let me finish what I was saying first. Then we ended up, we got our staff. We proceeded to have some problems with nighttime bosses. And then we managed to come back here and pick up a new spell. Well, I say new, it's the same spell, just, it's a spell we can actually use and have the stats for. Glintstone Stars. We showed that off before departing yesterday's stream. Glintstone Stars is probably our single target spell. This spell is great for roll catching. Glintstone Arc roll catches a different way. Glintstone Stars basically combats the whole NPC detects that you cast a spell. They dodge when you cast the spell. Additionally, for an NPC, it doesn't matter whether or not you charged it or not. The second that the cast button is released, an NPC will dodge or strafe or do whatever it is that they're going to do. Glintstone Stars has tracking on it, so it counters this very nicely. If you have an enemy that's going to do a lot of dodging and you can't slow them down for any reason, Glintstone Stars is a great option. We're going to use that to great effect today. I'm really hoping this screen tearing doesn't show up too badly. It's awful for me. I've tried changing the VSync setting. So there's some vertical sync between the card and the monitor, but it's not helping at all, honestly. I'm not sure what I can do. It could just be the strain on the card. Due to recording and displaying things at the same time. As you can see, just from that single charged Glintstone Stars, we were able to successfully dispatch a single walking Miranda flower, or mini Miranda flower. So today, what we're going to attempt to do is kind of continue to explore the beach. Now that we actually have magical tools, we can afford to maybe go over to some of these places over here and grab their items. I will be making tea shortly. I'm currently drinking coffee. My 1 cup for the day. Since you guys last saw me, I believe I was drinking coffee on the regular. I have since stopped doing this. And anytime I do drink coffee, I stop at a single cup. Coffee makes me sleepy. Caffeine makes me sleepy. Too much caffeine? Out like a light. So I'm now that I'm aware of my own nature, I combat this by just not drinking too much. I know, it makes me sound like I'm talking about alcohol, but it's caffeine. Why don't we just get started? It is nighttime, but we shouldn't encounter any nighttime bosses. The only nighttime bosses that we have are... Let's see. There's one over here after Stormgate or Gatefront. We have one on the bridge. And then we have one over here in the forest. Those are our nighttime bosses. The Bellbearer, the Knight's Cavalry, and the Deathbird. Everything else is here whether it's daytime or not. You have a horn in your hand. You get to die first. Oh, yeah. If they're too close, they'll just circle around the target and not really hit them at all. What was he saying before this, though? I'm losing focus. Right. Since the last time that you guys were here, I've added a couple of timers and commands. That should have been... Currently, because the stream doesn't really have any foot traffic, they're set to just go off every 30 minutes. When we start receiving some traffic again, I will put them back on line minimums. But the idea with the commands is just that... Oh, I need to be really careful. These guys aren't too bad now when we have spells. We just stay back and just let them, you know, tire themselves out trying to catch us. A frozen raisin. Nice. But I've added ERRC and ERRG. ERRC is the link that goes to the changelog. Kernifer has recently updated this as of 07/22/2022. So whenever Kernifer issues an actual update to the changelog with a date I'm aware of, I will be modifying what ERRC says. ERRG is Elden Ring Reforged goals. Of course, I'm going to say these out loud, but the idea is that I can't always answer everyone's questions. Sometimes people just want to be anonymous and just type in the information they want to know and get it, and then go about their business. That's what these commands are basically for. ERRG will outline what we intend to do in the game, which is 100% items, all endings, all features of Elden Ring Reforged, displayed and shown as much as I possibly can. Most of what we have on display, we need to get some FP back with the club, so that's what we're going to do. And then we could use Pebble to get back the rest. I'm really considering putting on only HP flasks because of the recovery. I still stand by the cerulean tears being used to cast more damaging spells right now, but if you just pay attention to your FP, you never need to drink a flask. It's just good. And of course, we need to use Arc for this one. And come on, show us what you have. Yeah, these guys are very good horseback fighters. Super short range. But yeah, our goal is all items, all dialogue, 100% story features. I want to give you everything you've ever asked for to see in Elden Ring. Oh man, that shoulder check. If I were doing hitless challenges with this game, you do not give up, do you? That's okay, I don't either. I'm a fairly patient person. Yeah, I'm a fairly patient person, both in-game and real life. I'd like to think that's a good feature. Sometimes I'm a bit too patient, slow to act, I guess, but I would rather be too patient as long as it doesn't kill me than to be impatient and, you know, be a slave driver in some people's heads. I don't want to be that person. I'd rather be patient. In particular with challenge runs and my 10-year experience in MMOs, I've dealt with a lot of different kinds of people and have tolerated a lot of different kinds of mental anguish. So you just get used to baring your teeth, more or less. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, only time can tell. Some people say it lets me tolerate my abusers a bit too easily. Some people say I'm a saint. I've honestly heard it both ways. There's a balance. For those that know me, and I suppose I'm letting people who don't know me into that same window, if there's a word you should expect me to use a lot, it's the 7-letter B word, and no, it isn't bastard. It's balance. Everything in life has a balance. Sometimes balance is two diametric forces always being opposed to one another, and they always have to exist or the world is just chaos. Sometimes balance is an amalgam of all things, and anything that doesn't contribute to the amalgam is inherently imbalanced. Yeah, I use this word a lot. Most people say, that word doesn't mean what you think it means. Oh, come on, show me what you have. I'm so... Yeah, that's probably one of the more annoying sorcerer placements. It's bad. But these, I almost have to treat them like a boss. They're pretty taxing. Yeah, it's just, they can swing so fast it's not funny. Oh, and I just realized that the music volume is probably too loud. Let me fix that really quick. Oh, I tried to do that and assumed the man was down. My bad. Don't worry, I'll take you seriously, Mr. Horseman. Mr. Kaiden Mercenary. Luckily, some of our other spells stop this maddening 3-hit combo from continuing. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I pumped the music up a little bit so you guys would have something during the 5-minute startup time, but that's a bit too much. There we go. That should be more reasonable. The only thing that's probably unreasonable is my voice. I'm trying to tinker with it. It's kind of hard to do. I have a drop arm. I have a microphone arm that I use to suspend my microphone so that it's not in front of my face all the time. Like, it is, but I try to keep it out of the view of the camera as best as I can, and it's not perfect. right quick. You guys might be asking yourselves, what are we doing here in the middle of, BFN? Over here in BFN, there is a Starlight Shard. We need those for New Game Plus. Kernifer has, I think as of 4 or 5 patches ago, implemented a exchange system whereby you can actually just progress to New Game Plus straight away. As long as you go through the prerequisite bosses, and you get some Starlight Shards that you could use to exchange in a shop. I believe that's how that works. The change log, I think, should be up to date on that. Again, it was updated 5 days ago, so it should be. But you never know. Kernifer is a human being. They might miss things. Because New Game Plus now scales evenly all the way through at the highest tier possible, highest enemy tier scaling possible, it's imperative that you gear yourself appropriately. This guy just does not let up at all. Alright, I'm over trying to be stealthy about this. Come on, we're gonna go this way. We need to catch that sorcerer by surprise. Sorcerer? We need to catch that hollow by surprise. This is sort of the side path to getting into the little encampment here. Yeah, hit us all you want. You're gonna regret casting your spells. And our reward is awesome. It's a Royal House Scroll. Let's read it. It'll become apparent what the reward is in a hot second. There we go. Sorcery Scroll of the Carian Royal Family. The heads of the Academy of Rea Lucaria can be given to a learned sorcerer to gain access to the following sorceries: Glintblade Phalanx and Carrion Slicer. This is good. This means we could go back, talk to Selen, and immediately get some new spells. I want to say it's the Carrion Glintblade. Let me go back and refer to this, just so I don't misquote. Carrion Slicer. The Carrion Slicer is an awesome melee option that lets us use our FP as a sort of really cheap melee attack. Let's say an enemy has a lot of behaviors for ranged combatants. That would be alleviated by getting in close. The Carrion Slicer lets us do just that. And it has decent attack power, barring anything that's been changed since the recent spell balancing patch. It's a good spell. I used it in vanilla ERR. It's extremely powerful. Yes, there are more powerful, flat, like, sorcery spells. There are more powerful spells in that regard, but the Carrion Slicer is really fast. It's the... Oh, that's not good. I could see even when you're not enraged, you're still capable of that 3-hit combo. I think it might have actually been a 4-hit combo. Yeah, I think our MVP enemy of the week has got to have been the Kaiden Mercenary. Their dismounters are very powerful. They're a nuisance on horseback. It's just not really a good time when you have to fight one of these guys. That shoulder check. Oh yeah, that was a bad time to cast a spell. We are out of healing. We will need to be very careful. Extremely careful. How are you guys doing? Other than the coughing, I'm doing fine. This could take years to go away, from what I understand about long COVID. It could take years, or it could be even lifelong. Like, I could just permanently have a worse cough now, and there's quite practically nothing I can do about it. I can try to keep my weight down in order to lessen its effect. That's really about as much as I can ask for. We have ourselves a two-handed sword. Yeah, the Great Epi. Yeah, this coffee ain't doing it for me. I'll make some tea later. Right now, I want one of these. Ricola. I would never leave home without a bag. So, on top of talking about stuff in Elden Ring, I want to give you guys a little bit of advice regarding friends. I'm 30. I don't have a whole bunch of them. And the ones I do have, I'm very picky about. Do yourselves a favor. In today's world, it's very crazy. Find some friends. Find people that I tripped over. Yeah, yes, I forgot. They have bell alarms. These are audio alarms that trigger when you step over them. And practically almost the whole main camp heard it. Great. Thankfully, they didn't really hear me or any fighting noises. They heard the bell, so that's what they're gonna go towards. But so they could definitely alert the whole camp. So you got to be mindful. Always look at your feet, especially at night. You can't like 100% just stare at your feet, or else you'll never know where you're going. But look at them sometimes. You never know whether or not you're about to trip over one of these nice little chains. You might think that they look innocuous. They're not. What was I saying? Right, friends. Find some. And then text them. Text them. Call them. Talk to them. Let them know you care. Today, I hear about so many relationships that were iced because people spent too long without conversating with one another. Don't do that. That's one of the quickest ways you can lose a friendship. Other than actively being a butt wipe. That's another one that makes you lose friends. Don't do that. Find some friends. They will help keep you from going insane as much as you will help them keep from going insane. Humans need to stick together. We're a social species. Having friends is good. Of course, having someone more intimate than that is also good, just generally speaking, but intimacy is a topic for which I am not properly versed, so that I will stay away from. But friendships, I've had plenty of them, some virtual, some physical, and in all cases, just treat someone how you want to be treated. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. You don't have to have an EQ or an emotional quotient of 200 or higher. You don't have to parrot the Rick and Morty meme to understand that most people want similar things, even if the cultural form of those things is different. Most people want a safe place to live. Most people want to be accepted for who they are and not judged. Most people want the ability to put food on their table, to be able to make money or not just exist. They want to be able to live. They want to be able to make merry. dance, sing, and create. Most people want those things. The form they take might differ, but they mostly want the same thing. The culture gap is what can make that difficult. That's where you really kind of have to work at it. Also, friendships are not a fair weather thing either. You can't... You should not be in the practice of talking to people only when times are good. It's really important to talk to them when times are rough. Because adversity is what forges relationships. It really is. Adversity in general, if it doesn't kill you, it will make you stronger. You will adapt, you will grow from it. Not at all. Thinks they should. And that, as long as it's not murder. It's not murder, or it doesn't make people suffer. Again, it's not rocket science. It's not easy, but it's not rocket science. But friends are good for you. Make sure you get some. And if you're the type that struggles with friends and just actively wants some, I'm willing to be in your corner. I'm willing to give you a bent ear. And note that bent ears and friendships are a good thing. It means they're listening. And I've counseled many people over my lifetime. Most of them, I did not see their face. Only a select few people in my local life I've had the pleasure of counseling face to face. We have gotten our Starlight Shard, so our next order of business is over here. And we'll be getting the correct name for that place shortly. But yeah, most of the time, the people that I've counseled or have given advice have been people over the internet. Internet people can be your friends too. You just don't know what they look like. You don't know if they're being 100% honest with you. You kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. You're not going to get 100% honesty out of people. You're not. Some people lie for absolutely acceptable reasons. Some people just are private. Want to keep their business private. Perfectly fine. Some people are under an obligation not to tell the truth, such as a non-disclosure agreement or a gag order. That's also fine. You're going to have to settle in life. You can't always expect the truth out of people. It's easy, and in my opinion, it's easy to say you're a principled person until it comes time for your principles to actually be tested. And if you find that your principles don't hold up, or that you constantly have to adapt, then your principles are the thing that need adjusting. Maybe oh god. Oh right. Welcome to hell. This is a rune bear. Rune bears are not fun. They have huge chunks of HP. Take a long time to kill. And are generally... Although this one isn't hitting quite as hard. And they are generally not worth your time. I'm gonna fight this one to show it off. But in general, I don't think they're worth the time. They have lots of different kinds of attacks. They can grapple you and probably kill you at this level. They have a overhead charge, and there's the grapple there. This one's making me out to be a bit of a liar, but I mean it. Rune bears are really hard. They can often hit you at an unexpected speed. Their attacks have lots of wide sweeping boxes. It takes time to deal them damage. As you can see, on foot they're kind of a hassle. And on horseback, they are also a hassle. And their attacks are capable of inflicting bleed. That's kind of a... It's just, they're a lot. They're not worth killing until you have the tools to take them out more easily. Poison, bleed, death blight, something. You need a status. And statuses in this game are greatly improved. Poison will, I believe it drops resistances. And Scarlet Rot, the other poison-like status, drops defense. Death Blight lowers attack. Frostbite lowers movement speed. And also increases damage taken from all sources, I think. And I think it's something like 10% extra damage. Status effects are good. They don't, I completely missed that. And we'll now have to fight the Kaiden mercenary on horseback. Main thing to do is get him off his horse. That's the fastest way to claim victory over them, is to just get them off the horse. It's not easy, though. They swing really fast on horseback. And their attacks can hit both you and Torn at the same time. And that attack was a complete whiff. Awesome. Even though we have magic now and can do things, as you can see, it's still a struggle. We only have access to sorcery right now. And that has some costs. We only have offensive tools. We don't have anything for defense. We don't have anything that lends itself to additional utility. Nothing. We're stuck on offense. And that's the way it is early on. You're stuck on offense, and that means when you're on your back heel, it quite literally sucks. What was I saying earlier? I do this a lot. I forget what I'm talking about because I'm trying to move on to the next thing and not sit there for 20 minutes thinking of what it is I want to say. Sometimes it just means losing conversation topics. I'll think. It'll come back to me. I'll think of it. I'll just target you instead. You might be asking yourselves, why are we headed over here now? And also, why is this whiffing so hard? Well, we're over here because there's a boss over here. And that boss... I'm going to show off the boss. Do I think I'm going to kill it? No, absolutely not. We still don't really have enough tools to be taking that sort of stuff on, but I am going to show it off. Because that's kind of what these streams are all about. Showing stuff off that you guys might not think to do until way later. And I say that as though I'm expecting that nobody goes for optional content, which is absolutely not true. But at the same time, there are those kinds that will absolutely just... And this guy does his nice little spin. We're going to wait for them to drop down like that. These stone serpents, or ruin guardians, drop ruin fragments. That's pretty much almost a guaranteed drop. I would suggest getting used to them dropping that. They're not going to drop anything else. Is it just me or are these things hostile? These things aren't hostile now. They used to leave you alone. Interesting. The Forlorn Hound Everjail. And yes, that is Everjail, not Evergal. I've heard a lot of people on YouTube call this a gowl. It's Gaelic for jail. I don't know what to say other than that. But it's definitely jail. These things act like jails. There's an NPC we'll meet later that gets thrown in one of these. Meaning the usage of this is meant to be a holding cell. They probably could have just done without calling it an Everjail, if I'm being completely honest. And instead just call it the Forlorn Hound Jail. Or, I don't know, something else. But it is what it is. G-A-O-L is jail. Not gal. G-A-O-L. It's jail. Alright. Once you enter an Everjail, you can't leave until you die or you defeat what's in it. So we're kind of stuck now. And our reward for meddling with the Everjail, and I'm already gonna bleed out probably. Yeah, Darrowell is... Bloodhound Knight Darrowell is a boss that we don't really have any good options for. This stake, we saw it on the way in, will put us right outside the Everjail. One of the nice things about Everjails is you can see our rune marker, our death marker. If you die in the Everjail, your runes are actually out here somewhere. You could come grab them and just get out. You don't even need to stick around. You can stay and fight in the Everjail as long as you wish, as long as you pick up your runes. And they will always be outside the Everjail itself. So don't feel ashamed for running away from Everjail fights. Most of them aren't mandatory from what I could tell. They all contain optional bosses. They are important for quests, which we are doing. However, this Everjail is meant to be tackled later, not right now. And we'll see the reason for that as we continue to explore Limgrave. For now, we're going to head over to this forested area and pick up an item, and then we're going to make our way over to that beach. Right now we're heading north. We want to be heading west. I couldn't remember what I said earlier. I'm really sorry. Sometimes maybe part of my subconscious mind wanted to just move on and continue talking about the game. Maybe part of it was just not paying attention. I don't know what that case is. Over here, we have the opportunity for massive amounts of souls, runes. I still make that mistake all the time, by the way. We were at like 4,500. We're almost up to 5,300 now. Which is pretty good. You can farm some souls or runes right here. Did it again. You could get all kinds of drops too. We have ourselves some options for shield. The rickety shields are wooden small shields, and the brass shields are metallic medium shields. Generally speaking, shields are very good in this game. They're not perfect. And deflection doesn't care if you have a shield or not, but shields do allow you some additional latitude you otherwise wouldn't have, especially great shields, which we have not seen yet. We've seen enemies using them, but we don't have a great shield for ourselves to use yet. Great shields they're just good. You can put enchantments on them, or affinities on them. You can put more Ash of War options than normal on them. It's good. They're good in this game. Kernifer has done a pretty good job in making sure shields aren't relegated to just being fashion souls dressing. They actually do something. And as you guys have probably noticed, our spells are starting to pick up steam. We are dealing more damage than we were before when we were first using these. We also aren't limited to a dinky little club and having to fight for every scrap at the kitchen table. We've already come a long way in a short space of time. And our build's only going to get better as we get more types of gear and spells to choose from. If you ever want to know about player builds at any time, I'm going to get off the mount. These boars drop hefty beast bones and blood and stuff. They also drop excrement at some points. If you prefer, like great bows or the ballistae in this game, you will want to be hunting boars all the time. They're probably your best source of hefty beast bones. I think bears are the other option for this, but it might not matter which one you choose now that I'm thinking about it, as bears can sometimes fall into a really stupid AI routine. Animals in this game are not smart, but they're not meant to be either. They don't have good AI, and perhaps for good reason. I definitely like just being able to have a basic attack in the form of a spell. It's good stuff. Kernifer needs a crown. They, I don't know who they are. Kernifer just does good work. And I hope as time passes, more people will come to appreciate the mod. Some of you are probably coming from Kernifer's Discord right now, too. In which case, welcome. And hopefully you'll be able to admire the same great work I'm playing right now. I'm looking for a club, by the way. That's kind of why I'm here. There's supposed to be a great club. I'm not sure if I've picked it up. Great club? We have a club already, so I suppose this item isn't the most necessary thing in the world, but we were going for all items, so we might as well just find ourselves a way to grab it. Just had to figure out where I have to remember where it is. I was trying for an all items playthrough for a while on my own too. It wasn't just this game, but or this stream project, but I definitely want to do that on stream. Whether people like it or not, streaming communities natively want their streamers to do one or two things. A, go for all items all items, all dialogue. Some people really want to see the whole experience, everything the game has to offer. Some people want streamers to legitimately beat the game and move on. You either speedrun it and do the bare minimum required, or you do everything. You're not going to please both camps. You can forget that pipe dream. You have to pick. And since I used to do challenge runs, I used to be a no-hit streamer, for me that choice is kind of easy. It's to fully complete the game. 100% it in every capacity I could think of. I went over that crowd because that is where I used to watch streams at. Those were the stream types I frequented most often. Were those trying to go for 100%. I gravitate toward that type of content. Also on YouTube, I tend to just frequent 100% Let's Plays a lot. So I definitely want... I know I want to be a person that strides that line between a 100% Let's Player and someone who just streams fun content. And fun is entirely subjective, so I know that's an immaterial statement to make. Either the game is detecting I have a club and not giving me one, or I've already picked it up. Either way, I'm going to move on and not waste your time. If I find... I might come back off camera and find the club. And go from there. I know the next link I want to make. I didn't get time to do it today. But I want to link you guys a genie.io map that I use for finding the locations of every item in Elden Ring. I used that to map out about half the game just on my own when I was playing the game in free time. But I want to give you guys that useful resource so that you can get everything in the game. The only thing Carnifer has done in that regard, as far as like item placements or rest site placements, is a couple of rest sites have been added in like the last 5 patches. And more things were relegated to merchants, and a lot of the somber smithing stones were removed and I think replaced with something else or thrown into the shop. One of those things happened with the somber stones. So even with the genie map resource, you're not going to get 100% items off of that when you're playing Elden Ring Reforged. You could forget that. It's a pipe dream, but I thought I felt a gnat hit my mouth. That's why I suddenly stopped talking. My apologies. There's so many of you. Oh, there's a lot of you. You think I'm gonna let you, like, surround me? Think again. When you're dealing with enemy mobs like this, when you're dealing with massive groups, it's really important that you stay patient. And I nearly got clubbed from behind. Just stay patient, stay calm. I know that's not an easy thing to do, but you gotta give it your best effort. We did get the club. Good, but I wonder if we got that off of a drop as opposed to anything else. Let's see. Clubs that you don't meet, or any weapon that you don't meet the attribute for, take a look at the strength requirement closely. With dex requirements or other item requirements, you have to match those exactly. But as long as you have at least 75% of the strength required for a weapon, or better, you can two-hand the club for the same effect. So if I equip this club, like the moveset's the same, the only thing that changes is how much damage you're doing. If I two-hand the club, I'm proficient. I'll get full damage, all that fun stuff. But this isn't what you came to see. You guys came to see magical spells. To the player build. Right. Yeah, our next goal is to go to the beach. And yeah, there's a tiny strip of beach here. We should take a look at that. Oh, hi. Right, staying calm. Hard thing to do in a Souls game, I know. But you have to try. Don't don't uh don't just sit back or continue doing the same thing over and over in regards to staying calm. I suppose it's a little bit easier for me because I used to be a no-hit runner, so like a no-hit challenge runner. So of course I'm a little more used to being patient. But the panicking in a situation in one of these games only makes the outcome worse. Never better. There we go. Yeah, my mute button's a little tricky. I thankfully felt the cough coming on much earlier, so I managed to catch it this time, but it might not always be so easy for me to catch it next time. That's why I generally opted for the rule where I just kind of lean that way, lean to my right, and cough away from the mic. Easier that way. But I will try to catch it if I feel one coming for a solid minute. You've got my word on that. As much as my word can mean in this day and age. So, I have a question. I don't need an answer, but I kind of want you to be thinking about it. It's just a streamer engagement thing. What kind of streaming content do you like to see? Are you one of the types, you collectively, one of the types that like Let's Plays, or do you like more highly edited stream content or VOD content? Are you one of the types that really like to see memes and videos? I'm just kind of curious. I think I know what the collective answer to that question is, but there are always different people. That is the rest site. We might as well go back to it and empty our runes. Let's see. Might as well put 2 points in int. This way we can cast more spells. Crystal Burst is a shotgun spell, i.e. it's best used on large targets. The spell balance patch just makes sure that the spell still works on small single targets well, but you know, without getting hit, without the full effect, you're definitely gonna feel like your time is wasted. But back to the content question. I feel like more people would definitely prefer high-quality edited content with memes in it, because people want to escape from work. A lot of people just work what they have to work, do what they have to do, and want to veg out. Oh, God. Oh, thank goodness. I thought that was going to be way worse. That's a nice spirit stream. Or spirit spring. That's a nice spirit spring. Remember being here? Yeah, we were here before. We kind of mad dashed for a singular item and got out. Now we're hoping to, we're kind of hoping to take home the whole bank today. Let's see how this fares against. Not as well as I'd expect. It's just to be expected. I am interested in knowing whether the crab... This is either a weak crab... Oh, right, it's the scaling. Can this be charged? It sure can. I'm not sure I like it, though. Crabs, if anyone who has played Dark Souls 3, then crabs are like a very familiar enemy type. You really get used to dodging them a lot. And Miyazaki loves his sea creatures. If you're lucky, they'll just spit water at you a whole bunch. If you're unlucky, well, then they could go for all kinds of claw attacks. And finish you off with the pebble. Crabs can go for grapple attacks. They can, if you try to circle them to their left, they have a really mean left hook. If you circle them to the right, they have typically less options available to them. They can do a 5-hit combo where they continually move forward. It's kind of hard to dodge out of it once you get hit. They have a grapple with their right pincer that they have a charge up for. Crabs are a predictable enemy type, but they hit like Mack trucks. Don't let them get the upper hand. It usually doesn't work out for you. You kind of have to stay on your toes. I know, Men of Darks. We're in a Souls-like. So these alabaster swordsmen use gravity pulse-like attacks. And like to pull you into their melee attacks a lot. You really have to pay attention. They aren't too bad if you don't get greedy with your attacks. It can be kind of difficult if you are constantly in melee range. They can spam gravitas. And they don't swing super slow either. They have some surprisingly quick, medium-range sword swings. It really is just... Oh, geez. It really is just a matter of making sure you have space to move freely in. And not letting gravitas or gravity well have its way with you. Oh, wow. The game made me a liar again. Never mind, I thought they had like 3-hit combos. They have a 6-hit combo. But our reward for getting rid of this particular alabaster swordsman is the Ash of War, Gravitas. I was just referencing it. Gravitas is the weapon art where they thrust the sword into the ground and a gravitational pulse that draws things closer comes in. Gravitas scales with magic damage, or it does magic damage. It scales with intelligence. That is the native scaling for things that have gravitas on them. And the innate affinity for gravitas is the gravitational affinity. We have managed to take care of... We've pretty much gone in a circle. So now what we're going to do is come over here to the cellar, go speak to Selin, get some new sorceries, and then maybe try our hand at the Tree Sentinel.
There you are. Shall we commence?
Let's give you a scroll.
Is that a scroll? Takes me back to my academy days. Very well. This is sorcery with which I'm not entirely unfamiliar. I'll be sure to incorporate it into one of your lessons. Never lose that inquisitive spirit, my apprentice.
Thank you. So, let's talk about Glintblade Phalanx, the other sorcery. So, let's first read. One of the sorceries of the Carrion royal family creates a defensive arch of magic glint blades overhead, which automatically attack nearby foes. This sorcery can be cast while in motion, bestowed upon the enchanted Carrion knights, who combine this art with their swordsmanship to maintain pressure upon their foes, striking in waves of steel and sorcery. This protective sorcery will slowly restore a portion of the FP used to cast it over time. That is the new sentence on Phalanx that makes it so that casting it is also very cheap. We don't currently have enough... we currently do not have enough runes to pay for this. We can go sell our runes in order to pay for it, and I think it might be a good idea to do that before continuing onward. We have a bunch of hard runes. It's definitely worth trading them in if you're collecting something, or you actually want something. Let's see how much our hard runes are worth.
Well, you're back.
I mean, she's not here anymore, Kale. I don't know what you're talking about. He's still referring to, Rena, by the way. Not sure why. So, we have 1,600 right off the bat, plus another 400. Do we have any duplicate, stuff? With the 100%, I kind of want to treat duplicate items. We only need one copy of each, I guess is the point I want to make. So if we get duplicates, those are a good game to sell, and you should sell them. They are worth something. 100 to 200 souls per pop isn't nothing. We aren't gonna use crossbows, but I don't feel like we should sell them either. We do, however, have a duplicate club. They have exactly the same weapon art on them, so let's just get rid of it. And of course, we have Row of Fruit, which let's see, should we sell it? Not yet. Let's buy the Missionary's Cookbook. That should take care... Yeah, that's probably something else we should do, is go around and grab any cookbooks we're currently missing right now. I think only I think Kale is the only one that has a cookbook currently for us. I don't think that other merchant... We either bought the stuff off of that merchant, or... he does not have a cookbook. And if not, we'll go right back to Selin and grab some sorceries. I also made it a habit at one point in this game to travel on foot everywhere. I don't do that anymore, obviously. After Limgrave, I figured that the game was much bigger and there was no point. And footing it all by yourself. They gave you Torrent for a reason. You should use it.
You again. I don't want...
I'm not here to cause you trouble. I just want to look at your fine goods. Nope, we already bought everything we need. The cookbook had to have been the first thing that was purchased. So, what do we have for crafting? We should probably make some firebone arrows. And we need to make some regular arrows as well. It's just good to keep good stock of these things. Do we want fire pots? Sure. We might as well use fire pots. Pots in this game, most of them cost FP, like this holy water pot. There will be a time where we make the holy water pots. Most things in the beginning areas are kind of vulnerable, or at least neutral to fire damage. Like, they don't have any major resistance to it. So fire pots are the better choice, and you can use them without seeking your FP on something. Granted, the FP cost is not as meaningful as it was in base Elden Ring. Again, we can regenerate FP very slowly now, so it's not as big of a deal. But still, for those that don't want to spend FP, fire pots are your way to go. They will let you deal a damage type you don't normally have access to, or wouldn't normally care to go after.
There you are. Shall we commence the...
Yes, we will buy the Slicer, the Phalanx, and the Crystal Barrage.
Your appetite for learning is impressive. You make me proud to have grown little legs so readily. You must have a fabulous teacher.
Oh, don't even get me started.
You can very well.
Now, we have these spells. What are we gonna do with them? Let's put on the Slicer. I believe generates additional FP on hit. I believe the Slicer is considered a generator now. I'm gonna do myself a quick favor and go look at the Discord post regarding generator. And this is on the Elden Ring Reforged Discord. I highly recommend making use of it. If you want to find the Discord, I'm going to do Kurnifer the favor of not making a command for that, and instead funneling you guys to the Discord page, or, funneling you guys to the mod page through !ERR. And from there should be a direct link to the Discord on the mod page. You may have to scroll down a little bit, but you will find it. I'm looking for it. Let's see. I'm looking for specific one, and it's a post by Kurnifer, by the way. Generators are fast spells that do decrease damage. Okay, Glintstone Pebble, Carried Slicer, Ambush Shard, Hone Bolt, Catch Flame, and Bestial Sling. Bestial Sling, even. Okay, so we know what the generators are now. I might forget them, though. So, we have a melee generator and a range generator, which, as you can tell, since the generators don't cost any slots, you might as well just have them on. Unless you really need them off for some specific reason. And we can't use these other two spells right now, so we're kind of stuck. But I believe two of those are sorceries. The rest are incantations, I think. Yeah, the rest of them should be incantations. I'm trying not to go back to the Discord immediately. So, first thing we're going to do, go over to the first step, change it to daytime. Then after that, we're going to pick a spot near the lake and switch it to nighttime. And maybe take on another boss.
It's time you cast if you...
And Vare doesn't have anything new to say. Great. We're wanting to pass the time until morning. Sorry, letting my voice kind of rest a minute before I continue talking. I thought I had... Oh, no, that's just the material collection. Alright, I think we're probably ready to give this guy a try now. I will say... these Guardians can reflect spells, so we will need to be paying attention to make sure we don't, have a spell spat back at us as a golden bolt of energy that will probably kill us. And I don't recommend fighting the guy on horseback either. Oh yeah, that's much smaller damage. But it does allow us to generate FP. That's pretty cool. You can miss with the generator spells, so I do have to be careful about that. Ow. And you kind of want to wait for him to attack before you, That shoulder check is so brutal by the horse. Gonna go ahead and drink here. And I'll try to show off what happens when you cast too many spells. I just hope I don't get killed for it. And he buffs himself. When he does this, it's phase 2. He's not cooperating with me. Think it's got to be a non-generator. Oh, yeah, that's not... This is so weak. Crystal Burst is kind of bad. Oh, there we go. Yeah, when he does that, don't cast spells. If you see him start to raise his shield, there's a good chance that he is going to just... Nice shield check, bro. Oh, that was bad. Pay attention, Coin. That was bad. This guy is a little tougher than I remember, but that's good. That's a good thing. I don't want it to be easy. Oh God, living the dream. 1 HP. I'm fairly sure it's 1 HP. It feels close. Yeah, he's doing that whole swing leftward bit. Nice shield check. That was close. Oh, he definitely deflected that one. And death. I should not have charged the glintstone stars there. I definitely should have just focused on dodging. The shield slams are one of the better times to cast a spell. Oh well, could be worse. Let's try again. We can in fact use our summons here. We probably should use our spell. However, I'm a little leery of making his behavior erratic, which is what spirit summons tend to do in this game. It's make boss behavior very uncontrolled. I thought I had dodged that. I guess I'm not doing a good enough job here. What? The shockwave hit me there? Oh yeah, spells are just dangerous in this fight. This is bad. I should probably just die right now. He's not going to shield check me. He'll shoulder check with the horse, but he's not going to shield check me yet. And I still can't believe that shockwave hit me. Yeah, he shoulder checked twice right there. And that nice delay there. And there's phase 2. Nice shield check. Nice combat rhythm. Nice shield slam. And death. Oh yeah. Glintstone sorceries or magic of any kind is super dangerous on these. We will get him. He is an easy... I shouldn't say an easy boss. He is a manageable boss. If you pay attention, you will do fine. If you don't pay attention, you will suffer. What I am going to do is check how much it takes to level up. Yes, I've got that. It's the first time opening the status menu in this game. We're going to grind up 600 souls real quick like. I know an easy way to do it. We're going to go tackle on a giant. We'll have 300 left over. and then we can safely ignore those runes. I keep calling them souls, by the way. That's gonna happen a lot. We're gonna call them runes, unless I consciously forget. Where is this giant? I think he's a little further down the path. Yep, there he is. My apologies for the lack of talking earlier. I do have a command or a timer that reminds people that, hey, you know, I don't talk during boss fights for a number of reasons, but that's not always an easy thing to remind people of. Oh, that shockwave was nasty. Could be worse, I suppose. Oh, yeah, that sucks. In the process of grinding runes, sometimes you can lose them before you take the grind. Show me what you're made of, big guy. The easiest way to deal with the shockwaves is, of course, to jump over them. But you can't always do that. There's the 900. That gives us what we're looking for. Let's go back over to the first step and level up real quick. I think we should put that point into vigor. Health is a good thing. We're not doing a hitless challenge, so there's no point in holding back on leveling up vigor. You might as well level it. Don't underestimate what having a health bar does for you in Elden Ring. Health bars make the difference between constantly getting one shot and being able to tank something if you need it. Make good use of it. Oh, that was a bad time to cast a spell. Wow. Nice. Can't always charge the glintstone stars either. Yeah, and that's triple the opportunity to get deflected, by the way. What a whiff. Seems like the slicer does the same damage the pebble does. Like, exactly the same. Which is interesting. You get the spell later, but it's like a melee pebble. It's cool, though. Pay attention to the screen coin. Nice shoulder check. Take 2 there. Tap with stars. Now that does still have the magic debuff on it, which is really interesting. I think this is getting deflected. Yes. Too long after the
attack. And I rolled at the complete wrong time. That could have been really bad. I generally find that if you're on the shield side of the tree sentinel, it's a little bit easier to deal with. That isn't always true, but he's less erratic when on the shield side. In phase 1. In phase 2, that goes out the window, and I'm dead. But we don't care about our runes anymore, so I'm going to fight him one more time, and then we'll go on intermission. And we'll go from there. I want to, on intermission, I do kind of want to get back to the intermission video, but I want to curate that a bit better. I did have an intermission video before, but that had some cussing in it, and some copyrighted content that I'm quite sure would get flagged if I attempted to cobble the same intermission video again. So I want to make a bit of a better one. But that means, that does mean I'm going to have to sit down on clips. And that's kind of a bottom priority thing at the moment. It is something I want to do, though. An intermission video is good for engagement. Or so I've been told. We're going to grab the runes and let's go again. That is one of the nice things about this boss. You can just take your runes and leave. The screams of the crucified. And yes, they don't look like crucifixes, but they might as well be crucified. It's the same net effect. Nice. That is a good chunk of damage, though. Right. We're getting in close. Get on that shield side. I don't want to have to drink in phase 1, though. That's kind of bad form. It's hard. He definitely wants to be on the side with his weapons, though. I should just let him kill me now. Let him kill me. This is a bad attempt. You can't even do that right, Tree Sentinel. You whiffed. You whiffed. I'm gonna throw that attempt away. It's meaningless. Sometimes you just gotta know when the attempt is bad and roll with it. And sometimes you have to know it's not worth the effort and throw it away. Besides, I'm 3 minutes over the intermission clock, and I don't want to take a 10-minute stretch later on. It's not going to be conducive for the flow of the stream. So, we're going to take a 10-minute intermission now. Go get your drinks. Go get your snacks. Well, I'm not telling you what to do, but those would be good things to do. But with that, I will see you guys in 10 minutes. My apologies about that. I'm back. So, where were we? Hopefully you guys enjoyed your more than 10 minutes. Sorry, I had to relieve myself late into the break. And then after that, I had to finish making my setup for tea. Let's go back to the morning. Please and thank you. This could very well take all stream. We have the ability to complete the to beat this boss, but it is going to take some sincere effort to do so. If you don't have to mimic what I'm doing, if you feel a fight is not going to be worth your time in Elden Ring, you can always do something else. You can always do something else. Never fail to exercise that right to do something else. Pay attention. So essentially we have like a burst phase and we have a conservative phase for our damage. We're in like conservation mode right now. We can kind of get some extra damage done during the conservative phase, but it's really only going to get us so far. Oh, pay attention. There we go. One nice charge attack to keep things going. You could be fairly aggressive with your spell casting on the Tree Sentinel. You just have to not get greedy and don't wait too long. If you wait too long, then they're just going to they're going to deflect your own magic back at you for their own gain. Now we have a different timing for, like, the way we have to charge our FP. That was close. Might want to actually drink a cerulean flask here. Still want to space these out though, seeing as how the cerulean flasks still only restore half. Close. Bad, but at least this is the first time we're drinking for health. Oh, I thought I had run out of the way of that. I guess not. Oh, and I'm not paying attention. Really? We restore so little health. I don't know what that was. Bunch of dropped frames. Relax. We are out of healing, though. And you're really not going to get to charge your glintstone stars that much. Nice shockwave. And the delays, I think, get slightly longer too, but I don't know. Kind of going by feel here. Can't see when he swings. Bad time. Nice delayed thrust. Awesome. We almost had him. Just needed to do a better job. Some people could spend hours on this fight. I've spent like a couple days on this fight when I was just learning it. I know everything there is to know. Phase 2 is a little different in ERR. More buffing. The buff is what's new. The shield slams and earthquakes are not new, but the buffing was something I think was pulled out maybe once in the fight. Now it's pulled out like multiple times. Okay, might as well wait now. That was really lucky. I would have gotten hit for sure there. I definitely did get hit there, which is unfortunate. How did that miss? Oh, and they'll raise the shield until you go 2 seconds without casting a spell. I'm not drinking until phase 2. Alright. Yeah, bad attempt. It was one of those... Maybe that's compromise. Maybe it's one of those I won't care about my health if I know the attempt's going poorly. I'm just gonna keep fighting. Because throwing a fight just because it goes poorly is a bad look on a content creator. Throwing for content is something you do when you're legitimately trying. When you're just throwing away the fight, it looks bad. At least in my opinion. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Throwing for content, good or bad? You almost have to attack when he's attacking, or you're not really going to get a whole bunch of mileage out of what you're doing. It's strange. The timing for attacking in Elden Ring is different. Nice. And nice shockwave. Those wicked delayed thrusts, that is... Yeah, Oh, yeah, you're not gonna outrun that. You almost want him to attack, personally. Like that. And bad. I'm not gonna drink. Not doing it. Yeah, he could. That attack is either new or I've never seen it. Swing again. Don't open your mouth, streamer. Don't do it. Don't leave your mouth agape. Don't game like this. Don't do it. I see streamers do that a lot. I mean, out of all the content I've watched, there are people who game like this. If you're trying to show them your lunch food, that's a good way of doing it. Don't do that. That's poor etiquette. At least from what I've heard a lot of top content creators say, that it's bad form. And you never want to have bad form when you're making content. Close. You kind of have to be careful. Oh, don't talk, streamer. Don't do it. Tap. Oh, I'm lucky those even hit. You're hardly going to get the time to charge a spell with this guy. And certain attacks are just bad. And that shoulder check could have been really bad. Not drinking. Not doing it. We might as well keep going. I'm not stopping until this guy's dead. I don't care if the stream is silent for the next hour. He dies. You're seeing that different, I suppose, that different side of me. When I'm set on something, I like to be persistent and take care of it. I don't like leaving things unfinished. I did that early on in the stream so that we have our build and we have tools we can use. But in general, I don't like doing this. I much prefer to do what I do right now, which is, you know, fight until you're finished. Is he going to snap shield this? Nice body check. I swore I tapped my cast button the third time, and it didn't work. Alright, come on, big guy. I'm not sure what ends up being better ultimately. I ultimately think the Carrion Slicer has an edge in this fight because it allows you to control behavior. Because this guy is a handful as a caster. Because it's mainly he just has a mechanic that really just wags that middle finger to casters. And the second one. Yeah, bosses have, like, so many variations to their attacks. And it also doesn't do you any good not to use the charged version of this spell either. Because the boss timing is really, really dependent on tapping the cast button. But you can't over-rely on it. You sort of have to mix the attack timing. Yeah. I just feel like I don't do enough damage. The fight is doable, but I just feel like I lack oomph. And it also doesn't help that my spells get deflected. It doesn't help that my spells get deflected. So I feel like I have to rely on Carrion Slicer, which means there's no point in using up any FP flasks. Like at all. We're going to try that, in fact. Or we're just going to say Carrion Slicer only and nice screen tearing. We're going to change out the flasks. Allocate flask charges. This is, I don't know. I feel like something kind of has to give way for the Cerulean Flask to see any use again. Maybe it changes late game, and I bet it does. I bet what I said earlier still holds true, but I'm just not feeling the Cerulean Flasks right now. Any other? No. Yeah. Medium load is good. There's no reason to use gear you're not actively using. I do it a lot where I have stuff equipped that I know I don't use, just in the off chance I actually need it. But boss fights don't care about that at all. And spells immediately. Nice. When the shoulder tackle sends you in the opposite direction. You know that physics are good. Okay, I don't think the boss knew what to do with that rock. Bad timing. Yeah, and yeah, I feel like Miyazaki kind of did a good job with subverting player expectation, but it is annoying when he does this. I've never seen a game with so many delayed boss strikes. Okay, back it up. I can't see what he's doing. Alright, let's try to use our FP at least. They will start using the shield attacks before they buff. Oh, that was bad. Come on. That was faster. Okay. Sometimes things do feel cheap in Elden Ring, but what are you going to do about it? Deflected? Yeah, predictable. And I swear the boss heals a little bit when he does that buff. I should not bother healing. This is kind of a bad attempt now. Mediocre gameplay. Why did I jump? I know... sorry. Bad gamer behavior. People will often ask why something happened. The answer is obvious. Look at the footage. You jumped... I jumped, which is why that happened. And my thumb hit the A and the B button at the exact same time. A slightly before B, so I guess not at the same time. But I hit both buttons. And hitting them at the same time, the priority is on jump since I'm doing it on purpose now. Even a slide input doesn't really help. I feel like... Yeah, if there's even any A input at all, you will jump first. Incredible. Oh, and that was queued up, too. Bad form. Very... Yeah, no, don't kill me. I'm just not going to care about my health. What? Because it's a bad attempt. What was that? He either got me or the horse had an active hurt box. One of those two things happened. One of those two things happened. That's as much of a reasonable guess as I have. I don't want to do the typical streamerisms I've seen today where it's like, what? Huh? What happened? What's this? Look at that. That's filler speech. And of course, I guess I have my own fillerisms on this, but and all humans have filler speech, but when you see it happening, when you know you're saying it, that's when you have to fight it, because that's when the commentary is stale. If you don't want stale commentary, you can't repeat yourself, unless you're doing it for form emphasis. And that's me not paying attention. Nice screen tear. Okay, need to back off. We only have so much stamina. I either have to do it before he charges, or I need to get a different position when I'm near him like this. Okay, I think I've got a rhythm for this now. You have to be super close to him, and then he won't bother deflecting. Behind him is almost the best place to be, really. Don't even bother. He'll just deflect whatever you do. Nice. Oh, and you do less damage to him when he's buffed like that. I just noticed. Nice. Charge. It's phase 2, but he's still buffed. Nice. I have to see filler content. Can't say nice. Not too much anyway. That right hand side, man. And even that left hand side becomes a little more dangerous. What do? Do you deal with the devil you do know? Or the devil you don't? Kind of hard to, that was close. Right there. Bad. Oh, that shockwave was mean. And so was that extremely delayed shield strike. Oh, that... See, he didn't even raise his shield. Yeah, the hurt boxes are really what you have to pay attention to. I feel like I can do this boss, but there's still something missing. Like, I don't know if it's just getting hit too... I mean, that is the answer. I'm getting hit too often. Doesn't matter whatever else I'm going to say. I'm taking too much damage. Only a perfect, flawless fight is the thing that's going to carry me over the edge. But apart from that, I don't know if I have enough damage output for this. Because here's the thing. That buff that he casts during phase 2, and he will cast it, reduces damage by like 33%, a third basically. How do I know this? Because I paid attention to how much damage the Carrion Slicer was doing. The Carrion Slicer, unmitigated, does 36 points of damage to the Tree Sentinel. When that buff is active, that damage drops to 23. And I know that that is Elden Ring Reforged behavior, because that buff was modified. Like I said, I know he whips it out once during Elden Ring, but the buff did not do that. It was a heal instead. This doesn't heal. It does heal him a small amount, but the bigger problem is the damage reduction. And I can't overcome that except by... I can't really overcome that except by just getting more damage. Whether that's a buff to intelligence, or I should not be in this open field when looking at the map, or other stuff. And the dragon that's here at night, I think, is the same thing. We do not have enough damage to do this. We can go past Stormgate and get the stuff over here. I keep looking for the tearing to show up on the main screen or on the stream output, and it never does. I keep, I completely blanked. Also, I was fighting some mucus back in my throat. It's time for another cough drop. I feel like the answer is more damage. And the only way to do that is to do something else right now. So, ultimately, where we don't want to go is here. Or I guess we can. I just feel like it's a tad early. We might as well explore the other parts of Limgrave first. Do we have any smithing stones? We have 8. What we should probably do, we're going to be using this staff for a little bit. You can go a long time without upgrading anything in this game. Especially in terms of staves. The next staff we get, like natively, without doing something else, is up here. Natively without doing something else. Coin, would you like to try that again? Yes. I would like to respeak for 500, Alex. Without sincerely going out of order. The next staff is like up here. Or way off in the distance over here. So we might as well upgrade this staff to like a +2. Wet blade fragments. Okay. New problem. We don't have any runes. I guess now might be a good time to open up our... I have some commands for channel stuff. So you guys probably noticed that you're getting a currency, like, right? That currency's called amperes. Nope, that's the YouTube. I want this. And I want to go over to the video producer / content board. So under our viewer rewards, we have a few things that you guys can ask for. If you donate just 50 amperes, or if you spend 50 amperes, I can answer anything you ask of me. Almost doesn't matter what it is. Just, maybe don't have me violate Twitch terms of service. or I can do a random in-game action if you give me 300 amperes. The defaults are still the same. For 100, you can highlight your message so I can see it easier. You can pay 250 if I were doing subs only to send a message in sub only. You can unlock a random sub emote at 320 amperes, choose an emote to unlock temporarily for 480, or modify a single emote with something for 900. I would like to get some more custom rewards. I'm just not sure what those would be yet. I'd have to kind of sample the custom rewards panel of other streamers and other content creators and figure out what that is. But the amperes do something here. It just doesn't do a lot. The most you could do right now is spend your points to have me answer something. Something serious or something lighthearted, doesn't really matter which one it is, but your amperes are useful for something. And I'll put a separate timer for the ampere or the channel commands. I'll put those in a list on a separate timer. That way you guys have them. So, what to do? We don't have runes. We can farm 900 off the giant. We can also come over to the southern lake and grab some off of the demi-humans over here, as well as the large battle between the demi-humans and the and Godric's soldiers. Yeah, this right here is probably a good place to get your runes. And just like that, we got 460 for relatively low effort. One other nice thing, I suppose, is as long as you don't spend yourself bone dry, and you let your FP actually regenerate, you will get something back. Yeah, I really like the work that Kurnifer has done so far on this. Are those gold flecks? If you see gold flecks at night, here's 890 already. Gold flecks at night means that enemies, I think, drop 20% more runes. Nice sliver of meat. I'm not even sure it has to be nighttime, but you do have to see those golden flecks in a large concentration in the sky in order to get... Oh, we've dropped 1,340 frames. You know, I thought I was immune to this, but I guess I'm not. Something else that I should probably mention is that editing videos, and this is kind of why I've been in a content slump as of late. I know, like a week back and you're already in a content slump? Lel. No, so my setup for audio mixing is dependent on the two computers being able to communicate with each other. And when they can't do that because the V-band has to be turned off, I have no way to hear. I have no way to hear audio content on the other side of that. So I'm stuck. I have to kind of listen to my own videos on some other device. Granted, I can easily do this with the external hard drive I have now. I can upload those videos and, or I can basically store them for myself, listen, and then kind of take notes on paper where the edits are, so that I'm not using the VBAN more than necessary, because boy does that eat data. Like, it's nothing special. I don't know why it does this. I mean, I kind of know. I know enough about how the computers are communicating to understand that since the capture card doesn't do its work, I'm forced to send this stuff over VBAN. But it's a little bit de-immersifying when you can't when you don't hear your alerts on stream because the VBAN is turned off, or it's a bit de-immersifying when your capture card doesn't actually do what it's supposed to do. It's just dysfunctional, quite frankly. Nice work. So many creatures. Hi there. If you thought you were going to get the jump on me, think again. And that's one reason to get stamina as a caster, by the way. Like, we don't need stamina. Yeah, you do. You gotta be able to cast your spells. If you can't cast your spells, you're either dead or not playing the game. Or, you know, using a melee build or something else of that nature. I believe we have enough enough runes to work with. So why don't we head back for now? So now that we're over here, we're going to bump this up to a +2, make our sorcery a little bit better, more scaling, more damage. We're going to grind up again a couple more times, get another point in intelligence, and see if that helps. That's the basic game plan. I would like to kill the Tree Guardian today. If I can't do that, I might play off camera a little bit, just to grind up some stuff, get some arrows, things of this nature. But incremental improvement is kind of the name of the game when you want to be winning boss fights. If you're not good enough to succeed the first time, you have to be willing to make changes or realize when your performance is not where it should be. It's easy to say, oh, just get good, oh, just dodge. But if you don't want to be grinding something for 2 hours, sometimes you kind of just need to say, okay, what can I do to make things easier on myself? What can I do in order to actually have a real shot at beating the boss? Sometimes it really is just come back later after you've gotten an upgrade. One cool thing about Carrion Slicer, I know I'm jumping all over the place in conversation, is if you don't have a melee weapon, but you do have Carrion Slicer out, you can use it on horseback. Isn't that awesome? So even as a caster, as long as you've got some form of this sort of skill, you can definitely still go hunting and not have to spend any arrows for it. We're going to craft some more regular arrows. One thing I could also try is using a short bow for that encounter. Because here's the thing, having options is good. fire bone arrows are probably not going to be useful, but there are times where being able to use a bow could just be the better pick. That being said, we've just upgraded our staff, so I don't want to spit in the face of the effort we've just made. But it's worth noting that if you're not going for a specific build-only run, don't be afraid to change up what you're doing. There's nothing that a respec won't solve later. There's nothing that says you can't reallocate your stats or change builds later to suit your purpose. Don't let anyone shame you into playing the game X way because that's how Miyazaki intended. No, Miyazaki only intended for you to play the game, not for specific builds. Anyone trying to sell you on that is just an elitist. An elitist who is kind of a video game snob, a playstyle snob, where you're not allowed to go against the snobbery or have bad things happen to you. We need one more round of grinds, and not even the full grind at that. Gotta make sure I wasn't set something important. Cool. Hiya. Hiya, Coin. How's the magic going? Oh, it's going good, Death. We're doing a bit of adjusting for the... Sorry. Long COVID. We're doing a bit of adjustments to make some more attempts at Tree Sentinel. I think we've spent a good solid hour going at him. And granted, I have spells. But let's just say the Tree Sentinel is very, he's kind of an anti-magic person, not to mention Phase 2 buffs are, the Phase 2 buff he gives himself at specific points kind of makes our damage output moot. How are you doing, Death? Hopefully you're doing okay. Other than the game, I'm doing fine. Cough and everything. I have a cup of tea that I'm going to grab right quick as soon as I've made it back to the rest site. Feel free to check out any of the commands. I have several if you're interested in more information. ERR, exclamation point ERR, ERRA, ERRC, ERRG, or exclamation mark player build without any of the quotations. Will give you various information if you want to maybe play with the mod yourself, or you want to know more about Kernifer, the mod's author, or what we intend to do, or what the overall build is. There's still so much I have to do with the stream setup, but I hope the commands will be useful. I will be right back. My apologies. I'm also making sure I wasn't set anything important. I'm currently at the house by myself, so I'm kind of responsible if things go south, or I'm responsible for any communiques. I'm basically the house sitter, so I kind of have to, make sure I'm on top of texts and stuff sent by my dad or my stepmom or things like that. Was it just... No, I don't think I saw any gold flecks. Like I was saying earlier, for those that missed it, gold flecks in the nighttime sky mean there you get 20% extra rune drops. So if you're looking to grind, nighttime is the preference. Yeah, nighttime is definitely the preference. As you're not going to really get anything during daytime. Also, depending on your build, let's say you use incantations instead, and it's nighttime. You may want to actually wait for it to storm rather than just for the flex. Although I think the flex might override it. If you use lightning damage in any of your builds at all, you will do 25% more damage, unless that has been changed by the mod in some way, and I'm not familiar. You don't want to be using fire incantations, you want to be using lightning incantations and storms. But otherwise, I think those are the only two effects the environment has on damage, or on anything at all. Gold flecks at night, and storms equal more lightning damage, less fire damage. Everything else isn't either. Have you tried going to Caelid Swamp to get the meteorite staff and the spell Rock Sling in the ruins? Or is the item changed in this mod? Doing good. Just woke up. Awesome. Glad you're awake. Welcome to the stream. And I believe my controller disconnected. I'll have to get more batteries in a hot second. Meteorite staff has changed in this mod. It is still a mid-tier staff, i.e. you find it in the early game and it's supposed to be good. The scaling has dropped off significantly though, as one of the reasons that it was such a good staff is that it was S scaling in vanilla. I believe it is B or C scaling in Elden Ring Reforged. The trade-off for that is that you can upgrade the staff now. Meteorite staff cannot be upgraded in vanilla, but it's still more or less the same. I think that answers half of your question. As for the other half, I'm kind of wanting to do things in a specific order. I kind of want to keep to Limgrave if I can. The only reason I bum rushed it to Weeping Peninsula early was to get the staff I have now. Because otherwise we're stuck using a club or whatever else we find. And I'm not really particularly interested in leveling strength. I have leveled dex a few times, but that's mostly just for casting speed purposes, nothing else. If you ever want to know anything about the game's items, you can Control F anything on the changelog, but if you type !ERRC, I put a link to the changelog in that command, and if you open that Google document, that's what the link is. You can Control F for meteorite staff, and it should tell you what's changed about it. The last time I knew the change meteorite staff has changed. And I believe we are experiencing some dropped frames. While you probably look at that link, or at least have it pulled up, I am going to go ahead and replace batteries real quick. I'll be right back. And if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat, and I will answer them when I get back. Sorry about that. Was just grabbing some batteries. One final thing to know about the upgrade path on the staff is that the upgrade path for the meteorite staff is somber stones, and Kernifer changed out a bunch of the somber stones for regular stones. That's part of a balancing change for Elden Ring Reforged. So it's not really an effective use of our time to go get it right now. And on top of that, I can't even make it good until we've progressed through the game. That's what this little bit of grinding I just did is for. It's to make us marginally better in the fight against the tree sentinel. Sorry it took me so long to answer your question. I just wanted to make sure I answered it thoroughly. And it took me 3 parts to do that. Like 3 different angles of inquiry to actually answer your question. And for that, I am sorry. But I hope it is at least answered. So, for those that have either been watching or lurking so far, you don't have to answer this, but I would like to know how you're enjoying the game so far. Do you like what you see? I like what I'm playing. Elden Ring is awesome. Just changing this simple little animation of ducking, like replacing the backstab with this is leagues better than the game already. That one simple change. Being able to... Let me put on a melee weapon really quick so I can show this. Being able to deflect, like just tapping the guard and taking no damage is miles better. Just in terms of respect for the original game's design, those 2 things don't change your interactions with the boss that or with bosses or enemies that drastically. Ducking and deflecting very much feel like they're a part of the base game. The change is that good. Even if a mod just packaged those 2 things together, I believe a lot of people would be happy with that. But Elden Ring Reforged is so much more than... It's so much more than that. Also, I'm fairly sure I just warped to the wrong location. Fun. This happens to me a lot too, where I'll get to talking and get super distracted. What we want to do is... actually, I'm not sure this change in warp mattered, because we've already upgraded the staff, and there will be no reason to come here either. I believe we wanted to level up. That's what I was wanting to do. My apologies. Didn't mean to waste time. One more point in intelligence. Alright. Back to Vari again. And we're going to give the Tree Sentinel 1 or 2 more shots. For those that have just come here, or for those who have been here for only a short time, my streams generally end at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Subject to change once my school term starts. So we'll be ending the stream fairly soon, which is kind of why I'm coming back to attempt this again. Don't have much time for anything else. But we will definitely be getting more of this on Sunday, and if we don't get this boss here, then on Sunday, what we'll definitely do is try to work out some of these other places on the map. Maybe even going so far as to stop just short of Stormvale Castle and going over to Eastern Limgrave and getting its map. One thing I want to do before getting to Stormvale Castle is to come over and grab the flask of... Wow. It's the Physic Flask. I forget the name, but I do know what it does. Because the flasks, or the properties that Physic contains, is incredibly useful for dealing with Margit, the first real boss. Margit basically demands that you have multiple resources at your disposal. And upgraded ones at that, and maybe even something beyond just flasks. And for those who just got here, or have been here for only a short while, once I've explained bosses and or have gone over their major details, I typically tend not to talk during these, because boss fights are intense. My apologies for that, but I'm terrible when I fight these things and talk or entertain. It's something I desperately want to get better at, and I'm just not sure how. I don't know if that means I need to get better at flicking my attention between multiple places, or if there's some magical technique I could use to get better. I'm probably doing some of that right now, but I'm not very good at shifting my attention between multiple things. It's something that I struggle with even in my STEM fields. I'll mention more about that after this fight. Pay attention. Nice 2-hit. Only 3 damage as an improvement. That's kind of bad. More damage seems to have been assigned to some of the other non-generators, though, which is good. That would have been in time for Glintstone Pebble. This attempt is bad. Oh, that was close. Never mind. I just didn't tap any buttons and just sat there dumbfounded for the last strike. A little bit about me, because it's kind of boring to talk about the game all the time. For those who don't know, I've been on Twitch probably since I'm 30? Since about 2015. Yeah, a little bit beyond halfway. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I probably have enough time for 1 or 2 more attempts. We're going to stop at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time due to the delayed start. I'm a STEM major. Specifically, I'm studying to be a biologist. My current degree would be a bachelor's in cellular and molecular biology. I don't have it yet. That's what I'm working towards. But my ultimate goal with that is to take that to a doctorate in some sort of biological field and then begin a career in biodefense earnestly. Biodefense, for those who maybe aren't aware, is if distributing a vaccine to people is considered biosecurity, researching a vaccine is biodefense. It's not making medicine, it's studying the effects of biological systems. It's the actual research and development. Whereas biosecurity is how that system would be implemented. It's no less an important field, but there is a distinction. I could talk more about that after this attempt. Alright, let's get to an even playing field. Oh, that was really close. That's the risk you take with using spells on this boss. Sometimes they're deflected in your face. And honestly, I'm not sure which strategy is better. Keeping him close, where he may be a little more unpredictable, or keeping him at range, and he's constantly trying to close the distance. Not sure yet. That gave me just enough time for him not to block that. And sometimes you don't even need to dodge. Dodging is good, but sometimes you gotta know when to just walk or run or jump or do something else. I see Couch Jockey do this a lot, where he's just kind of running rather than dodging anything. Oh, yeah, no, a dodge was needed right there. And I swear I tapped it twice. Pay attention, coin. That was a bad time to cast. My eyebrow was itching like complete crazy. There we go. I hate that. I get this a lot in boss fights. Something will itch like crazy. And then I'm forced to deal with it. Oh, running out of FP at that critical moment was bad. Nice try there, Tree Sentinel. You have to do better, though. Oh, I did not want to roll there. And I know I tapped twice. Whatever. It's all about keeping up pressure and knowing when to switch between offense and defense. If you know what you're doing, you can be fairly aggressive with Tree Sentinel. I say as I nearly blow it. Out of drinks. And it's just short. He's just far enough away that casting that is complicated. Close. Close. Don't get greedy now. Oh. And our reward is a weapon and some runes. Thank you very much, Death. Appreciate that. You know what? If there was I can't hardly think of a better way to conclude today's stream than through leveling up and celebrating our hard-earned victory. I think the damage did actually make some... I think our upgrades did make just enough of a difference that we were able to push through 3 extra points on FP generators and about 5 extra points on other spells. We're really able to close that gap. We were getting pretty close in some other attempts before, but sometimes you just need that little incremental push. Okay, we need some more FP. We were sitting at 1,000 there, and if we're not running any FP flasks for any reason, then it's really important that our FP is as high as possible. We just also have to balance that with damage and other stuff. I think for now, though, since we're not fighting a boss that demands absolute attention, I would like to have some cerulean flasks on me just in case. Alright, what we're going to do now is figure out where we're going. I think what we're going to do is get over to gate front and plot our next action, and then it'll be time to call the stream. I did say we would go until 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so talking through our next steps, we'll cover that gap, that little bit of time very nicely. I'm also going to attempt to find some place for us to go in the meantime. See if anyone is streaming or recording. Yeah, I've got some folks. Okay. If you guys still want to watch more Elden Ring, I definitely have a streamer for you. His name is Gino Machino, and he is doing a no-hit practice run for all bosses. Currently 165 of them. All the main ones. Bosses and endgame stuff. So if you guys like no-hit content, you'll like him. Now, to go over our next steps. We have a couple of options. I don't think we're ready to take on Agil yet. Granted, Agil does not resist magic damage in the slightest, as far as I know. So we could do it. It is feasible. I think we need a little more oomph, however. We can try to tackle some nighttime bosses, most notably the Knight's Cavalry or the Deathrite Bird up here are doable once we get past Stormgate. We can also go to Eastern Limgrave, pick up this map fragment, and then probably make our way over to Fort Height and deal with this quest over here. Or we could go directly to Stormvale Castle and attempt to fight Margit after finding some necessary resources. We got some options. I'm most inclined to go over to Eastern Limgrave and pick up that flask of Wondrous Physic. But that's just me. I need a little time to think through it. Hopefully I'll have an answer for you by Sunday when we do this again. I'll probably put in Twitter or on Discord or something for those actually interested in that question. But I think we have something of a preliminary game plan now. All right, so next stream, which will be on 7/29/2022, will be some Blasphemous. We just got done with Tenpai Dad and Mercy Dreams, so we're going to keep going there. Look forward to that. But I'm going to turn you guys over to Gino Machino. I'm Coinstamp 180. Otherwise known as Swirling Vortex 09 on YouTube, and this has been another Elden Ring Reforged stream. And with that, be safe out there, guys. The world's a dangerous place. And with that, I will see you guys later. Take care.